it's time to go beyond Plus Ultra for a Boku No Hero Academia Review. It's the second half of Part 6.
We got a new intro this time.
And listening to the complete. Did I say Part 6? This
You did
is
say
the.
part 6. I was very confused. This isn't JoJo.
Right. And upon listening to the complete outro, it sounds less intro than the teaser last time made me think.
It does have a bit, like, it does make you feel like it should be a bit closer to an intro, although I think our current intro with this new intro is still the better option.
Yeah. But
Speaking of which, before we really get into this,
mhm.
I have some predictions based on just that intro.
Just a quick second about the outro, but
Yeah, sure.
just like the 15-20 seconds that they selected to play over the preview last time, that's just what made me think it was. But in whole, I'm like, okay, this definitely does have a outro feel to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually it's more melancholy and wind downy. This one borders on almost not that, but it's still got enough. It's weird. I got to listen to it more.
Yeah, and I just wish that Verve would put the English lyrics for the theme songs because they never do.
I don't think you usually get that unless you're watching maybe the English version.
Maybe. Because I'm just thinking back now.
I'm trying to think of any other series that I've watched in like the sub version, and I don't think there's very many, if any, that do that.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering if Bleach, when I used to watch Bleach a lot, if that had the English lyrics.
It did not.
Mm.
Even in the English version, I remember when I was watching it on Adult Swim, it did not have those.
Okay.
Like specifically, I remember 3 did give you the lyrics, but it was like the romanized lyrics of the Japanese song.
Mm. Yeah, but I will give a slight prediction, and then I will say that something will happen that Deku's like, I have to do this on my own. Everybody, let me do this by myself. And that's why he's like running away in the. I forget if he's running away in the opening, and then in the closing, everybody is assembled with him standing apart from everybody. It's kind of like, no, we want to fight with you.
That it?
Yeah.
So I think you're on the right track, but I think your reasonings are wrong. And I think here's the thing, right? This intro, we get a lot of shots of like Deku kind of just brooding over the city a bit, Batman style, like a really ratty looking superhero outfit now because he seems like he's been doing this for a while. And I'm thinking he's gone vigilante. I'm thinking one, he's left the group not because he needs to do it on his own, but because he wants to distance himself from people that he knows he will put in danger. Because he knows All for One is coming for that quirk of his. He does not
Oh.
want to make the school a target, so he leaves.
Hmm.
And I think while he's out being a vigilante hero, I think he starts discovering the reasons why villains, or at least, the Paranormal Liberation Front, etc., become the way they are. I think he finds the root of the issues. The people that have slipped through the cracks and lose their hope already, on top of what has now started spreading to the rest of society that we see in this episode. I think by the end, he does rejoin them, but it will take time for him to do that. Plus, the fact that he also failed to do something this, I don't want to say badly, because I mean, what the fuck was he going to do? But like this drastically, let's say, even though he clearly was not ready. I'm going to say, based on the visuals here, he's going to start getting a stain type of representation as well. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that makes me flashback to the Stain arc. Like all the heroes are here trying to get back and shit. Like there's even a point like right at the start where you see All Might like looking at him as he goes to like walk off screen. Like why? Like I think this is a Deku decision. I don't think anyone else would want this. But yeah, he's going through the city. He's masked. He's wearing his mask, and it looks way better now than it ever did. Like through the series. But I have no idea about this villain though that we're seeing in here. With like the purple hair and the pink highlights in it.
Or hero.
Maybe, but the positioning makes me feel like villain. Like I think it will be Ochako that much like this scene kind of shows in the intro that brings him back into the fold.
Because they're in love. Potentially.
I mean, it seems fairly obvious. Also, the one scene it shows in here that's super interesting is what the fuck is he doing with Black Whip? Like it all spreads out from underneath his feet in like crazy directions and stuff, and it's glowing green. Not like the dark green that we usually see him have on it.
Maybe this is another quirk that he'll unlock before the season is over.
It could be, although it looks too close to Dark Whip, so I wonder if it's a combo of whatever new quirk he gets in Dark Whip.
Black Whip.
Is it Black Whip?
Yep.
I always forget if it's black or dark.
I forget when it was, but I predicted that he will unlock 3 quirks this season. He did 2. I'm still waiting on the 3rd.
It wouldn't shock me. I'm not going to disagree with you. Here's the thing, though, before we push forward on this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wrong if he unlocks 4? If he unlocks more than what you say?
I will take a loss if he unlocks 4.
Okay, all right.
I just feel like with Black Whip, Float, Danger Sense, Mystery Other One...
Just general all for one for all energy storing power.
Well, I'm just saying like the other 6 that he has.
Yep.
But that's 4. I'm going to say I'm not too sure if any will unlock in the final fight or if he'll like because definitely one will go next season and I'm not sure if he'll unlock the 2 others in the next season or not, but that's my prediction. I am stating it again, sometime within this half of the season, or I believe the technical word is cour, C-O-U-R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this cour, he will unlock whatever is making Black Whip Green Whip. Or if that's just some stylized Black Whip symbolic of something else.
So here's my other question.
Yes.
This is something I think will happen, but I'm curious if you agree or not. So while this isn't part of the intro, I've got this feeling that he and Toga are going to meet. And that might be what sparks the whole trying to understand each other. And the reason for things falling through the cracks of the previous reasoning for society. Do you think he will meet Toga at all in this?
I don't want to say no entirely, but I'm sure during the big final event, he will have a showdown with Toga. Because due to the end of what they tease at the end of the episode, I don't think we'll see Deku that much.
I was going to say, right? From what we see in the next episode, it's pretty clear what's going to happen.
Yeah, but
at this point, who's going to stop it from happening? Unless there's like a mini time skip of like people getting healed and such.
Maybe.
I don't see who stops this now, with everyone being out for the count for a few minutes.
We'll get back to this.
In a minute.
Yeah, because we're just like jumping way far ahead here.
Right. Anyway, I do think he will meet Toga. I don't know if it will end in a full-on fight, or if that will take place later on in the season.
I am still unsure. So
We do see a fight between what? In the intro yet? Sorry,
yeah.
between Bakugo, Todoroki, and Ingenium, fighting Shigaraki, like on a crumbled building for some reason. I don't know if that happens. I mean, Ida's still in decent shape, but the other two not so much.
And this is just the opening, so things might not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Shigaraki melting away with child Shigaraki emerging and Deku like reaching out to comfort him.
That I feel like is very metaphor-y. I don't think that's legitimately what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that right before we get to that point, there's a section where it seems like Deku's speeding up or something, so I wonder if that's a hint at like super speed being a quirk that he has.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think
fast.
He suddenly sprouts engines from his legs.
Speed up.
Blur.
Speed. Shift. Turbo shift.
I don't think you're gonna nail this like you did Danger Sense.
Turbo shift. Turbo shift. I'm going to call that, if that is real, if that is a quirk, I am going to call it turbo shift. Turbo boost?
Here's my other
turbo
question.
Shift.
Right?
No, I'm going to stick with Turbo Shift. Although it might be Turbo Boost, I am going to stick with Turbo Shift.
Here's my next question, because this would be a cool way to like portray this and not give it away in the intro.
Okay.
Is it the world? Is him stopping time and moving, leaving that weird blur behind for everyone else to see?
So time freezing?
I'm thinking time stop. This is just out there. I'm not making this like a core commitment at all. Yeah. Time stop, and the blur that we're seeing is the blur that everyone else sees because he's moving or like he's slowing down time around him.
Oh, Shigaraki, are you approaching me?
Comes back with a giant freak steamroller.
Deku!
No, it's smash!
Oh my god, but enough about the intro.
He starts doing fucking JoJo poses. I learned this on the streets.
The streets of England.
But no, jumping back to like the whole Shigaraki thing and seeing Kid Shigaraki, I think that's clearly a metaphor for them like peeling away the anger and rage and hatred that has developed over the years and bringing him back to his original innocence.
Or at least trying to.
At least the attempt, yes.
Okay, but enough about the intro. As we stated earlier, this was like a good 65% recap.
Yeah, pretty much. We get a couple of new details, like how apparently they tried to capture Redestro by luring him in with his like company and trying to get a business deal, only for them to literally start shooting him and realize it's a twice clone. Which I had to go back and double check, and I'm like, oh right, okay, this is supposed to have been set before even the the operation had started.
Hmm.
This is like right before that starts.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, they had some scenes interspliced with it, but, like, not that much.
Yep, nothing really. I think the most major new thing,
Did we have a mid-season recap episode like this before?
we've had filler episodes before. I don't know if it was the full recap that took up half an episode though.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a full half episode recap. I know that we've had some recaps, but I don't think it's been this long. Like I'm trying to skip through to see if there's anything new in the mix, but it feels like the answers do really no.
Yeah, so
We do get to figure out that yes, Shigaraki was given a regen quirk. They do also like distinguish that they also got a durability quirk added in as well. So that little detail is in there. I did notice something though, actually, as they were going through this, right?
yep.
They mentioned how Makia was captured, and then like in a later section, it says how Makia is still on the loose. And maybe that's my translation here. Because it was weird.
I didn't get anything about Maki still being on the loose.
Yeah, it said at large, and I'm like, wait, what?
But I found it funny that they needed 2 helicopters to transport him.
Yeah. I was shocked it was only 2. I thought it would be more.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be way denser.
Mm-hmm. Makia, Compress, Redestio, Getin, and Trumpet are all apprehended,
Yep.
along with almost 17,000 Paranormal Liberation Front members.
Yep.
And what was it? It was like 130 some were still at large.
Yeah, 132 members. Let me double check here. 16,929 arrested. Total of 122 members, including, it says, lieutenants of the Liberation Front and Gigantomachia are still at large on these
Oh.
translations, which makes no goddamn sense. That's not correct. Someone screwed that one up. Because Giganto is not at large. We just saw him being carted off in some copters.
Yeah. And what's the time at there? Like,
Oh, when they say that?
yeah.
1508 is what I have.
Just so I can see what.
Yeah, what translation do you have on that one?
I'm watching through Verb, so I should have the proper one.
Should.
132 members, including Paranormal Liberation Front leaders, left the villa with Gigantomachia and are currently on the run.
See, that still makes it sound like Maki is on the run.
Okay,
It's poor wording in that case.
okay. So, I'm guessing, like, they left the villa with Machia, and even though Machia is captured, they are on the loose.
Oh yeah, no, that I agree with. I just think they worded it poorly to make it sound like Maki is still on the loose.
And then your translation, which has issues as
Which
we...
literally says including Makia, which is definitely wrong.
Yeah, because whatever translation you have...
Fan subs, always good.
Oh, boy.
It's been good generally. This season, for whatever reason, has been not the best.
Maybe,
Usually it's fine.
Maybe they got a different editor.
Yeah, maybe somebody else isn't translating this quite right, or they're not having enough time to go over it and be like, wait a minute, that's not making sense.
Yeah. So we cut to Jaku City in ruins, and Ochiko and Floppy are saving a bunch of people.
You forgot. We got to see some of the heroes that were involved get arrested, including our good buddy Slide and Go.
Is his power just like hovering? I forget.
I can scoot around on my feet and hover about half an inch off the ground.
And that's his entire power set.
As far as I can tell, he hasn't shown how he uses it.
Huh.
He just sits there standing with his feet directly together, just scooting around.
Hey, hi. Do you want to see something amazing? I can levitate.
Yeah, so basically this whole thing has been outlined as like a big report that Deku's been monologuing over, basically saying like, this is the shit that was in the report. There were no students, even though witnesses say there were students.
Hmm.
But, it clearly didn't happen. It's not in the report. And he's kind of waves it away as like, because it's villains, it wasn't that important to make sure it was accurate.
Hmm. Have you been paying attention to the past 13 episodes? If not, this episode is for you.
You got 15 whole minutes of just recap if you've missed half of the season.
Afterwards, I'm like, how much of the manga did they use in this episode?
Probably not much.
One chapter and 3 pages from another.
That feels about right given what we actually get out of this. I think the
Yeah.
general rule of thumb is like 3 or 4 chapters an
Hmm.
episode.
Except when it comes to One Piece.
Well, of course, we need to draw that out as long as possible and then shove as much filler in there as we can.
Yeah.
Oda runs his own schedule, basically, and we just do what we can with what we've got.
Yeah, and we find out that Jessica and Midnight are dead.
Well, we have Ochiko and Tsuyu saving people. Ochiko is very desperate to keep saving as many as she can. Have a nice little touching scene of a young girl trying to save her little brother who's captured, which they come in and help. Always
Mhm.
nice.
At the last minute, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're busy with everyone else. We get to see actually like Animal Boy being useful for a change.
Hmm.
Like he never gets any scenes. He's actually getting a chance to be useful.
Yeah, because his pigeon or something spots somebody on the top floor of a building.
Yep. Falling under the eaves. Yep. Probably getting some answers from like some bugs and some other
Hmm.
things. There is a point in here where we see like a single hero in here starting to like
Oh
lose
yeah.
hope completely. Just like it's not worth it. I think I need to go find another job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just Ochiko's reaction of like, oh god. Even the heroes are losing it. And you can see she's been doing this for a while because her hair's all like not as poofy as it usually is. It is disheveled here.
Mm,
This has probably been hours of this work for her.
yeah.
I feel like we've also seen this hero before, but I don't know what his name is because they never tell us in this one. But the
I
striped shirt and the weird beanie look very familiar.
I looked through the character list and I could not find him.
He might be another background one, but I swear I've seen him before. Like an unnamed background hero that's just being used again.
Yeah, because I'm just like, no, I cannot find, unless he has a name that I'm not familiar with. Like,
It could be, but either that or it's just one that looks like another one I've seen.
yeah.
It could easily be that. But yeah, like you said, we find out Midnight's kind of dead.
And Majestic.
I don't know if Eri can fix dead things.
I don't think so.
I would agree she can't fix dead things. She might be able to put the body back to normal for,
Yeah.
a nice viewing, but other than that. Although I find it interesting that they were saying they were just talking to her a minute or two ago before they got there. Like they were talking to her on the comms.
Maybe it was like her dying words that she was like, hey, I'm
It
gonna
could be.
act
I'm a
tough.
little surprised they didn't show that.
I can't let the kids know I'm dying.
I mean, I feel like by the way your voice sounds, you definitely give it away. But yeah, then we find out about Majestic as well, who died. Interestingly enough, one of the things we find out from the doctor during his interrogation is that Shigaraki should not have been revived by the tiny bit of electricity that was there. It
It
should not have been enough.
it was the anger and hatred in his heart that
And his
reawakened
dream
him.
to destroy the world.
Oh no, that's not good for Deku's new power. The world, ho!
Here's the thing, right? Assuming that would be his power, considering all the other shit that, like, just the super strength part of it,
Uh-huh.
He could have completely overwhelmed Shigaraki at that point with how many blows he could land while time was frozen that would hit him instantaneously upon reactivating time. Shigaraki would have been destroyed. Because his regen would get hit with all of the damage at once. It would not have had any chance to recover.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Hmm.
get to see some citizens talking, and definitely it's the breakdown of just, are heroes even real anymore, essentially, right? The doubt of, like, can they even protect us anymore?
And I think somebody was like complaining about Endeavor being like, hey, even when he was a number two hero, he had ulterior goals in mind.
Again, this might be the difference here. It was about someone being suspicious of him.
And
Um,
again, I didn't have
I will
notes
point out one of
on
the other
that.
visuals we saw was like the statue of All Might with a big old sign that says, "I'm not here,"
Oh yeah, and that's in the ending too.
in the intro and the ending.
Hmm.
So this last little tidbit is where things get real weird. Because now I'm starting to wonder if Shigaraki's being like full on puppeted by the original or
Hmm.
not. Considering we're getting synchronized talking
Hmm.
between the two of them, like the overlap of the voice.
Yeah, and he said like, okay, all you tireless nomus, free my real body.
Yeah, I don't know if he said real. Did he say real in yours? Do you have that direct one?
Yes.
Okay, because mine says true body. It kind of implies the same thing. I personally kind of feel like I like true body better, just
Oh,
wording wise, but
okay.
it works the same way. Plus, you know, we have our lovely little spinner here being like, "What the fuck did I get myself into?" Like he clearly has this look of what is happening.
He's starting to doubt himself.
Probably because I mean, like, he probably realizes this is not Shigaraki.
Hmm.
This is not the way this man talks. I've been with him for how long, and this is not the way he is. What is happening? Because I
Hmm.
don't think Spinner's aware of the whole all for one possession thing.
Yeah.
So that still leads to the next question of, are there two all for ones in two different bodies? Or is one of them going to absorb the other? Or, as I think I mentioned before, are they going to fight for who's the superior?
I am not too sure what Shiggy for One's goal is after All for One is free, but
What makes you think there's even a difference anymore? So long as Shiggy's not in charge of his body.
I'm just calling him Shiggy for One to differentiate
Oh,
between
I
the
get it, I
two.
get it. But you said like, what's his plan after he releases All for One? And I'm like, I don't think this is Shiggy's plan at all. I don't think he's in control. He has no will right now, from the look of it.
Right, but what is the All for One in Shigaraki's goal once the original is free?
If they're not the same,
Right.
I would assuming they're not the same person in living in two different bodies, absorb it.
Either that or.
Although that said, they must be two different ones because the original says something like, "I can sense it. It's gone a little differently than what I had planned, but
Mhm.
it's on the right track."
I am going to maybe guess that Shiggy for One will become the main body after, because that's a younger body now, more in its prime. So
This is true. I mean, the question then becomes, what happens to the original? Is it still used? Does it become a new Nomu once the consciousness shifts? Like, how does this work? On
I'm
top of that, if he absorbs a duplicate quirk of the All for One quirk, the copy that was put inside the original body, does that double the strength of the quirk?
I'm not too sure. And
Because I feel like All for One, especially if these are two different consciousnesses right now, right?
mhm,
I feel like they would eventually fight each other. I don't think they would agree. I think one would see one way of doing things and another sees another way. Even more so if the original plan is to snuff out one or absorb one into the other. I don't think they're going to be on the same page.
Well, we might have to wait for the end of this arc.
Potentially.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. And we have a shot of All for One being free from Tartarus,
Yep.
or at the
Which
very
is
end.
kind of what we expected there to be,
And
as
does
we said
he
earlier.
have no eyes?
He's never had eyes. Not since we've seen him, anyway. He might have had them in the flashback, but it's
Hmm.
always seemed to be skin grown over the eye sockets.
I think I forgot that.
They even showed it in Shigaraki here when All for One was in control. I don't know if
Hmm.
that was physically happening or if that was supposed to be just an example of who was in charge. I don't know who's going to stop the Nomu at this point, since they're breaking in and trying to release the main body. Like, who's actually going to fight them right now?
I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting next arc.
I'm curious where it goes. I'm also curious how Deku heals up after this fight.
Eri?
I have to assume that since she just released Lemillion and like brought him back, how much of that energy is still stored up? Now, granted, Lemillion had to go back at least a few months, anywhere between 2 to 4 months, depending on how much time has passed. I forget exactly how much it was. Deku, depending on when she gets to him, maybe a couple days.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes as far as like the energy consumed for her or what she has left in reserve right now or what she needs to do that. But yeah, Recovery Girl has been very explicit about you can only do your arms a couple more times before you lose them. Eri could fix it, but it's a matter of how soon can she fix it, I think.
Exactly. Like, since this whole series, from what I understand slash believe, is supposed to be over the course of 1 year,
Yeah,
maybe, since they're still Class 1A.
yeah.
So, will the season end with a series and with them graduating from 1A and going on to 2A?
Maybe. Although at that point, like, will UA still be around in the form that it currently is my next question.
Hmm.
If the whole idea is to, like, essentially repair the society that's broken. Will UA still be in the same form that it is at the start of the series?
We'll find out over the course of this next core.
Mm-hmm.
So, stick with us for the next 11 weeks while we take on the second half of the season. And
Yeah.
until then, I guess that's all for this episode, and we'll catch everybody next time.
See?